Hi there, and welcome to Screech Bob-Omb Commentaries. My name is David, Baron von Fabulous Lark. This is my co-commentator.
Callum, the good Doctor Young.
I'm here today to bring you some more Keyforge Online team event action with another matchup from the semi-finals between the Hamburg Atlanteans and Lick All. Do you want to tell us who's playing today, Callum?
Yep, so today we're looking at Irie Daly from the Hamburg Atlanteans versus Quinman from Lick All. And we're going to start with Irie Daly's deck, which we've covered before, and it's the alarmingly named They Who Flirts with Cleavers.
Whatever you're into, we don't kink shame.
It's up to you. But what they are into is apparently just being good at all the things, because this deck pretty much has strong performances in most of the things you'd be looking for in a Keyforge deck. It's got good Ember control, good cycling, good Ember generation, good board control, right? So starting with the Ember control, we see 3 Pismires, which is particularly gruesome versus an older set. For example, 2 Infernuses to purge a lot of stuff and purge Ember pips, and then a big Effervescent Principle.
Yeah, I mean, fortunately, this is going to be a mass mutational, so there are going to be mutants on both sides, but you are seeing less mutants in Quinman's deck, so I think these Pismires are still going to be very effective.
Yeah.
But there are also cards like Vault's Blessing. Sorry, there are cards like Vault's Blessing as well, which is each player gains 1 for each mutant creature they control. Going to be made worse by both decks having mutants, but again, a card that is benefited in Cleavers because I have more mutants.
Yeah, especially as you're able to use the Grim Reminder and the Disc to bring back that those Pismires or those Infernuses for extra Ember control.
Yeah, even potentially Grim Reminder to use on like a Terato Daughter, Umberbot, some nice cards to get out from the logos too. I think Grim Reminder to be happy with a lot of houses depending on the state of your discard pile.
It's a very strong card in this deck. We've seen this deck a few times now, and every time there's been a big Grim Reminder play. So we know that Irie Daly likes that. The cycling is very good. We've got 14 speed, double sloppy lab work, Terato, QMax, Lethal Logica, Eclectic Inquiry, all this sort of mass mutation, card draw, card archive shenanigans.
Yeah.
So it's going to go through it very fast.
Yeah, and especially in this matchup where there are cards like a Vault's Blessing that you may not want at all times, like a Savage Clash that may not be as useful at some times. There's also cards that are easier to discard with a sloppy lab work, which is sometimes a hard decision.
And also things you want to archive for exactly the right time, like Mark of Disc, like Reminder.
Like Discombobulator here is a good shout for that as well. No stealing in Quinman's deck at all, so Discombobulator quite happy to discard at your leisure.
And then plenty of board control options, and then we have a Skixuno for a full wipe.
Yep, so Skixuno, if you've not seen it, is an Omega card. Destroy each other creature. For each creature destroyed this way, it gives Skixuno a +1 counter.
So it can just sort of make a hilariously massive creature having wiped the board. Then also Savage Clash, Bouncing Death Quark, and then a few other sort of individual creature control things, which I think pretty useful.
Significantly, what you've actually got here isn't just the fact that it's an all-rounder, is that it's got ways of dealing with things in each house. Like you just said, it's got the board clear in each house. We previously said it's got the Ember, you've got the big Ember control in each house too. You can, if you're like say playing a Control the Weak deck, or in this case a Mark of Disc deck, you don't really mind sometimes being which house you're being marked into because you've got answers in every house. And I think that's very important.
There's no scenario where it's like I need to do X, I must pick this house. So you have a lot of flexibility that way.
You do indeed. One final thing to look at would be the Xenos Blood Shadow, another rare, which is elusive, hazardous 6, poison, and skirmish. Just all the keywords.
All the keywords.
That
was weird.
Very, very difficult to get rid of. With that hazardous 6, you need something with at least 6 power to attack it. And even then, when it hits it, that thing is going to die due to the poison. Just a very gross effect. But it is mitigated by having to have a Toad in the deck with it, which is a 1 power beast that cannot even reap. Poor Toad.
Yeah, and then just 2 Mark of Disc, just to round off the deck and to really seal away the game in many circumstances.
Indeed, yeah. So what do we have from Quinman here? So I think a powerful deck, but I think the first thing your eyes are going to be drawn to, as with many mass mutation decks, is the Disc with 3 Infernuses.
Yeah, and the deck has 22 Ember control compared to its 21 expected Ember. So this is so much Ember control in a deck. 3 Infernuses is massive.
Yeah.
For a total of 5 in the matchup. But you also have the CSI in the Saurians, double Faust, double Theros Centurion and a Humble as well. So you either burn away their Ember with Infernus or capture it all and make their keys really expensive.
Yeah, exactly. Also, just in terms of going back to this, couple of rounds we have here, which is Harvest Time. Choose a trait, purge each card with that trait. Each player gains 1 ember for each card they control that was purged this way.
Yeah.
This can be both creature control and artifact control. Not really many artifacts in the tie at all, so probably only going to be used as creature control, but could equally be used on Quinman's cards as much as the opposition cards.
Yeah. It's interesting because there's 2 of them, which is very unusual for a rare. But also when you're facing a deck that cycles very quickly and also has big Grim Reminder plays, the ability to purge creatures can be massive, right?
Yeah.
Imagine if they purge Infernuses or the triple Pismires or something of that nature, just to stop it from coming back ever again.
Yeah, exactly. It kind of leaves your opponent just with like some creatures they'd rather not have. So like a Bonesaw, it's a fine creature, but you wouldn't want that creature when you've already had your Infernuses, your Snorettes, your Taratos, your Pismires purged.
Yeah. The Untamed is going to give you some pretty good Ember generation. The fact that there is a Wild Bounty and 2 Glory Hours in attendance has put 6 extra pips into your deck.
Indeed.
And the Wild Bounty could easily hit some doubles. For example, the double pip Rapid Evolution, which you could make 1 giant, say, Dark Fairy or Fandangle.
Yep, you've also got Song of the Wild as well. So if you can keep some untamed creatures on the board, you can potentially do Reap, gain 1. Quite difficult, as you've got a lot of creatures here that are only 3 power, 2 power, 1 power, but potential to do that. And also a Rapid Evolution to give them a bit of extra power, potentially. Like, I think very happy to get, let's say, Dark Fairy and make that a real big skirmish fight, gain 2 kind of creature.
Could potentially be pretty good. And then we have the Saurians, which is, they're all just pretty good. Like, there's no sort of one necessarily unifying theme, but I'm not unhappy to see any of these Saurians in a Mass Mutation Saurian set.
No, not at all. I mean, yeah, you've got very notably the Scylla. I'm gonna let me just scroll down so you can actually read the card. Or let me scroll down. There we go. So when each enemy creature gains Reap, deal 4 damage to this creature, and with quite a few smaller creatures in I keep getting the name, in the opposition's deck, you know, you've got almost the entirety of the Untamed can't reap here, almost the entirety, I think, yeah, the entirety of Logos can't reach. I think it's only actually potentially the Skixuno and the Bonesaw that can reap when Scylla is out on the board without being destroyed.
So it can be very disruptive for a reap heavy house.
And one of our Greek users informed us that it is Charybdis, which is each enemy gains before fight lose 1 ember. So if you can get these on the board early, just sitting there, you can disrupt They Who Flirts with Cleavers quite a lot.
And just some doubles with consistency. So double Theros Centurion to capture, Faust to turn that capture into increased key cost.
Exactly. So you can make someone's keys very expensive when they do forge, or you can stop them forging altogether.
And then sort of Consul Primus to move it around, Humble to take some stuff off. All just pretty good.
Very good. So
the thing is,
moving back to this quickly, just a couple more things I want to mention here is that you do have a break key. So if you are making your opponent forge for a lot, which you said we can do with the Saurians, then we can have break key to then unforge that key, only give your opponent 6, shortchanging them. And finally, I just want to talk about the Dance of Doom, another rare. Choose a number, destroy each creature with power equal to that number. And as you've said here, a lot of 4s in They Who Flirts with Cleavers. So choosing a number, choosing a number, 3s as well, choosing a number here could destroy a very large portion of Cleaver's board.
Yeah, so 4, for example, is going to hit 2 Infernuses, 3 Pismires, a Tarato, a Snoret, and a Xenos Bloodshadow, all of which are 4. And that's like over a third of the 19 creatures are all 4 power.
Yeah.
The problem that I think Quinman has is this deck has 0 efficiency.
Exactly.
So you pretty much are just gonna get the hands that you dealt.
Yeah, and with Infernuses knocking around, a lot of your good cards are going to be gone too. So on your second go around of your deck's going to be a lot worse when you're getting the cards that you're dealt to.
Yeah. Whenever you play something good, you have to assume that might be the only chance you get to play it.
Also, we're looking at 15 pips in Quinman's deck here, which means there's going to be a lot of targets for Infernus to be used for Ember control when doing that as well.
Yeah, and a couple of doubles and even a triple, so that'll be interesting to play around.
Indeed.
But there are 3 Infernuses. So in a deck that relies on speed and efficiency, as Cleavers does, how much can you take out of it? How
Mhm.
much are you able to pick apart all the good stuff with your triple Infernus?
Yeah, and he's going to be like, because it's cycling through so quickly, there's often going to be a lot in the discard of cleavers as well for you to hit with that Infernus.
So who do you think is going to win?
It's a difficult one. I mean, I think the decks are quite similar in a sense, in that they've both got quite a bit of Ember control, they've both got quite a bit of ball control, they're both quite good all rounders apart from Quinman lacking on the speed, which is why I think I would have to give the matchup to Cleavers, and it's for 2 reasons. Firstly, it's that speed I've just mentioned, but the second is the Ember control, while there is a lot of it, doesn't always get rid of the Ember. It just, say, captures it in the case of the Saurians.
Yeah.
Which means that firstly, like, that Ember can quite easily go back to Cleavers, but also you're not stealing it, so you're not increasing your own Ember by doing that.
Yeah, I'm probably going to agree with you there. Just on the efficiency grounds alone, I do love my efficiency, and I think in that the decks both do quite similar things in terms of the Untamed and the Dis. The fact that the logos add so much speed, so much efficiency means Cleavers will just do more of it more often and
Indeed.
ultimately lead to victory.
Okay, well, we'll see you at the game portion and see if we were correct. Thank you. Hi there, and welcome to the game portion of the episode. We have Irie Daly playing They Who Flirts with Cleavers on the bottom of the screen, and Quinman playing what was the name of the deck, Callum?
I believe Google Translate told me it was the Elk Emperor Wilhelmina.
Yep, on the top of the screen. And we have some opening hands here. Not amazing from either, I'd say.
Yeah, no one mathing jumping out at me. You've got an Infernus you want to see later. You've got Dance of Doom you want to see later.
Thero, you don't really want to see this early because
Yeah,
I could see a mulligan from
humble,
Kinvan, and
humble either.
Irie, similar situation like Skixuno you don't want to see right now. Reclaim by Nature, nice to have, but happy to get a bit later. The logo's fine, but you would be left with potentially a 2/2/2 hand after that, which you probably wouldn't want to avoid if you can.
Could drop the bot, hope it lives, and let you filter out.
No, but
But we have a keep from both. Shows
yeah,
what we know.
and
And
we
an
see the
Emberspine
Ember
Mongrel.
Spine Mongrel.
Just gonna annoy your way into avoiding reaping.
Indeed. And we see the Ember Spine Mongrel get humbled.
And the city state interest early as well.
Yeah, good, very good to have in your back pocket ready in case your opponent gets a lot of Ember on suddenly. We are going to start seeing some logos coming down, including that Professor Tarato. God, I think that's going to be a big target.
Yeah, I can't be letting that live.
I think
Not
we
with
may see Dis with a Dance of Doom just to get rid of that Tarato and the Infomorph. Could see potential for a lot of reaping, and probably not going to want to take a Saurian turn right now.
Yeah, and you can also hit some tasty targets for the Infernus because that Leaf Logica discarded one of the 2 marks of Dis.
Oh, did it? I didn't even see that. Let's have a quick look at the discard. See
And
what.
and a Pismire as well.
Yeah, definitely some really good targets we want to get rid of. We are going to see the Dance of Doom here, I think. Yep, for 4. Yep, getting rid of that Tarato and Infomorph. Might even want to get rid of that Tarato. Can be a nasty card.
Yeah, maybe the Pismire.
I think
We'll
Mark of Dis definitely will be one of them then. Tarato or the
be.
Pismire I'd go for. And we do, yep, the Pismire. There we go.
So big early punch in from Quinman.
Indeed, but Irie, nice dish hand here that I think we might be seeing. Good to get rid of the Thero, the Primus. Sad to see your bot and Ember Spine Mongrel, no, but not going to be devastated. Although Skixuna is an Omega, I always forget that. So, don't know if it would be worth it just one of those creatures just to have that one on.
Sure, it maybe is worth the Skixuno.
But I think we will still see the Dis here one way or the other.
Yes, I think that's correct. Unless they maybe really fancy some draw with the logos, you could maybe reap with the Umbra bot, discard Bonesaw, and then Archive and discard something else.
Yeah, I think I'd maybe discard the Skixuna if I was doing that. It's you got stuff like the Savage Clash, the Bouncing Death Quack. You don't need the Skixuna as your only board trade.
I'd be trying to archive the Skixuno there. Well, I guess we'll see what they go for.
And we do see the logos, interesting.
And that's a nice draw.
Discard the Reclaim by Nature. I mean, I suppose I didn't really look at the artifacts too much, but there isn't actually that many great artifacts in Quinvin's deck.
Are
So
there any?
I don't believe there are
That's
actually.
fine.
No.
Yeah, fine with that.
So yeah, very much fine with that.
Pops the Discombobulator on the Umbrabot. Archives and Infernus. Solid choice, I think.
Mm-hmm. And we're going to see this Untamed coming down. Dark Fairy there with an Ember Pit. And a couple of Gloriana's attendants and Lost in the Woods. I think we're going to see the Umbrabot and the Amazon Mongrel, and then Dark Fairy I'd maybe send back along with an Infernus.
And Infernus, yep.
Yep, and that's what we
And
do see.
you normally want to be keeping that Dark Fairy on the board, but this is enhanced, has a pip on it, so I think happier to reshuffle it back in.
I think this is what we might see the Skixuno, put the Inspector on Soulkeeper for an Ember, and then Skixuno just to clear everything away, purge a card from Commitment's hand, and there's some very nice cards to purge right now there as well. If you hit the Faust, if you hit the CSI, if you hit the Mark of Ditch, you're going to be happy about hitting any of those three.
Yeah, and you take some stuff out the discard as well.
Yep, getting that Lost in the Woods is going to go, which it does, and that Dance of Doom. And there's the Inspector coming down. We see that on the Infernus, and then we're going to see Skixuno. What was hit there? The Stirring Grave. Not the best of what's in there, but you're pretty happy to see that go, especially with stuff like Infernus running around.
Yeah, in the triple Infernus deck, I think you're kind of happy to see that Stirring Grave go away. But concerningly for you, 3 pretty big Saurians coming down.
Indeed, but with the Savage Clash, I think there's going to be there's going to shortly be one pretty big Saurian after this turn.
And it's been brutal destruction so far.
Yeah, it has. And that's Skixuno big enough to go toe-to-toe with that Scylla too. We're going to start seeing some Untamed coming out.
There's the Resurgence that's going to come down here, but Pismire has already been purged from Irie Daly's discard pile.
I think we might just see the Infernus come back. I don't think it's really worth bringing back the Infomorph. It's just going to clog up your hand a bit. Oh no, Terato actually. I think we'll probably see the Terato in the Infernus.
Maybe I could see Terato. But this is the point, right? You can't play it and bring back the Pismire like you otherwise would for the Vault's Blessing. So you're not actually going to get any value out of the Vault's Blessing right now.
You're going to get a nice Ember off it. It's nothing to write home about, but I'm not going to kick that out of bed.
A solitary pip. I refuse to be impressed by this.
I'm going to be impressed for you. I'm going to be impressed.
I'm just saying, a mass mutation deck like this one, the quality of this one is definitely capable of getting more than 1 Ember at a time.
Yeah, very true. But hey, 1 Ember can make all the difference.
It can indeed.
We are seeing some heavy consideration from Irie about what is resurgencing back. I think there are quite a few options here. I think Terato seems likely. It's a very useful card, definitely when you get back down. I think Infernus is a good shout, but maybe say the Xenos Blood Shadow could be a good one to have back, put down on the board.
It's just a tricky decision. There's no immediate obvious option because you don't really want that Untamed creature.
Just the Infernus. I don't know. I'm surprised you didn't bring back the. I suppose Xenos, not a mutant, so you will be that or the Infernus, and you'd rather get that Infernus back.
Yeah, and this is the problem. The Pismire
Scylla fights the Skixuno, and we see a Stomp here. Let's get rid of that Flume. Nothing on the board to exalt, so a very expensive play. And there is the Charybdis with the Faust right next to it there. And this is interesting because we see Infernus here. There's potential if they wait a bit, they could get that break key in the discard. Which could be...
I wonder if how much you've in KOTE in a format like this where you know what deck you're playing, how much you've scoped out the opponent's deck, you know what's coming.
It's hard to say. We're going to see the Eclectic Inquiry. You're going to archive a couple of things. What do we have archived? Ooh, Snarette and Mark of Dit. Going to have a real nice dis turn next turn. And yeah, on check here for Irie Daly.
And I think here you push for a key if you're Quinman. You hit the Umbrabot with the Mark of Dis. You play the break key for 3 Ember and then play your own Infernus to purge some things.
Yeah, not great options in the discard to bring back a Resurgence. Lost in the Woods, a bit of a waste to play on an Umbrabot on a Toad. And you have to then shuffle back your Charybdis and Faust.
Yeah, and you want to try and Lost in the Woods that Infernus.
I guess Lost in the Woods, it'd only really be useful if you did use that Resurgence to get back the two fairies.
And this is kind of what the mass mutation meta looks like, right? With 6 turns in, and there's there's already been multiple Infernuses.
Yeah.
There goes Vault's Blessing, and Skixuno doesn't.
Holds the break key. How interesting. We are going to see Logos though stuck into that, but going to be able to play a QMX to avert a draw, probably Reap to discard an Emberspine Mongrel here. I think I would.
Yeah, I wonder why they held that then. I can't.
I suppose
I would've
waiting
thought-
for Irie to hit a key and maybe aware of like Infernuses coming down and being like, we haven't seen this in a while.
Especially as you could have played it and then Infernused it out of your own discard pile.
Oh, you could have done. Yeah, that's very true.
And then you get the chance to go to check.
Yes, I mean Skixuno and Vault's Blessing, nice ones to get rid of, but not incredible ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't consider that, but that would have been a very, very nice move. We are going to see a bouncing Death Clock. I imagine we're going to see the Toad hit, and I imagine, Toad and Charybdis. And yet we do see the whole board cleared. And Irie here with a very large hand, a lot of options. You know, if Kuhlman goes to check, he's got the Pismires. If he doesn't, he's got that really good Dis turn.
Pretty big response to the Mark of Dis as well. You've got to be a little bit annoyed.
Yeah, I think we're likely to see the Untamed here. Lost in the Woods and a Daughter. Not amazing, but actually not great though here because he's got one card in the deck, so you know he's going to be drawing that back real soon with a draw icon on as well.
Yeah, I mean you do it as well. You get it off the boards. They draw fewer in the next immediate turn. You whack the Fandangle down. You make it super big with the Rapid Evolution.
Yeah, you can make that like a 10 power Fandangle. I think everyone's going to be thrilled to see that.
And then you Resurgence. I mean, maybe an Infernus.
maybe bring back at that point one of the attendants just to have a creature because why not? You know, you have an extra creature on the board.
But it's nothing. Its benefit is not from it being on the board.
No, I disagree with that. I mean, it's still a creature that you could potentially like get a Reap with. You know, it's nothing great, but I'd say at this point when you're playing Untamed anyway, and there's no point not doing it. I'd say
they have gone for the Infernus instead.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. It's not instead though. You could do the Attendant and the Infernus. I don't understand why you wouldn't just get the Attendant as well. Just have an extra creature.
Yeah, don't know. Gloria's Attendant is really
so interesting. Not using the Lost in the Woods.
No, just wants to hold it, I suppose.
And we are probably going to see a very big Dis turn here from Irie Daily.
Yep.
Which is going to be very bad for...
Yep, it's going to get Mark of Dis into Untamed. Yep. They're going to get brutally Infernused.
Yep. Have managed to avoid that break key, though. We are seeing still.
Yeah.
So, but I think still, that Rapid Illusion and Mark of Dis gone from Kuhlman's deck. And I think this is where we're seeing Irie really start to get the hooks in.
Yeah, they've got the better of the Mark of Dis game so far.
And grim reminder, we've got a whole discard full of things to potentially use that on.
You could filter out all of the Untamed creatures as we've seen them do before. You could pick up all of the Logos creatures to potentially set up a big, scary Reaping board.
Yeah, Logos I think is what I would be tempted by. You know, like the Terato, the Umbrabot, both kind of good creatures to have on the board that the opponent needs to deal with, really. And especially when you're looking like Logos turn quite likely with both the Sloppy Lab Work and the QMX.
True. And there's not that many big board responses in Quinlan's
see the
deck.
Stomp and the Faust the Great going into the purge pile. But yeah, if you look at what's been purged already, you know, you're seeing like great things like Dance of Doom, Lost in the Woods, Rapid Evolution, Stir and Grave, Mark of Dis, and Faust. Just really solid cards that you definitely want to be able to bring back around. It's just gone now. We are going to see the Lost in the Woods. I imagine the Daughter and the Snorette will be going back, which they are.
Yeah. Interestingly, held the Grim Reminder there, I think, to try and get those Infernuses again, or possibly the Pismires, one of the two.
Yeah.
Now, I would be tempted to straight purge both of those Infernuses with the Harvest Time.
I think we might see that, but we are going to see Untamed here. So the Pismire comes down, both the Pismires and the Fandangle.
Right. Now you have a big choice. You can take out either all of the mutants or the demons. So what do you want to get rid of? What's going to annoy you more?
I think I think you'd get rid of the mutants here because the Infernus you kind of theoretically have to have them draw back around for them to be an issue, whereas the mutants are like a problem right now. It's also worth noting here that Irie Daily hasn't flipped his deck when he drew up to 6 cards there, so that Grim Reminder is still in play and still very able to be used here, especially with stuff like Implosion in the hand. Could be seeing a very nice turn there. We are going to see the Dis. Break Key.
Does unforge the key and will stop it as well.
Indeed, will stop it.
Well, possibly not with the Harvest Time. We'll see what they purge.
Depends if he purchases his own... I think this might be where he purchases his own Break Key, and he does get rid of those mutants.
Will actually stop the key, yeah, because if they hit the Break Key...
No, that's the break. No, there's not anything else with 2 Ember Pips on it, so not quite enough.
No, it doesn't quite work. But you hit the Break Key and something else, and then the Snarette will take them off.
Oh, yes, the Snarette. Of course, I forgot about that. Well observed. So, yeah, you'd have to hit the Break Key and that Lost in the Woods, which... I know, just hitting that Gloriana's Attendant, letting him force the key, but...
so close to a successful Break Key, but still a pretty big point in the game, right?
I think he's just looked at it and said, I'd rather him have a key than me not have Lost in the Woods here. But
I could have done, or could have taken Humble.
Could have.
But has decided.
Yes,
maybe I'm being suckered in.
See the
maybe I'm being suckered in by the fact that Break Key might have actually worked for once. I mean, it's fair. It does what it does.
We're going to see the Reap here, then we're going to see a fight, and then I guess we're going to see the Implosion to do.
Yeah.
And then Grim Reminder them right back into that archive, and this is looking rocky for Quinman here. Just
10 turns have happened, and we've purged 16 cards.
Yeah, nearly a half a deck of cards has been purged. I think we're going to see a lot more.
Oh, we are far from done.
Yeah, we've got 1 Infernus in Quinman's hand. I think we're about. I really
didn't want
to click Brobnar. Huh.
So, choosing not to archive there?
That's... Oh, I see what happened. So he drew with the Grim Reminder,
the numbers
and
didn't
there
work.
was nothing left to...
That's unfortunate.
That is unfortunate, yeah, but we are seeing that lowest turn very rapid. I don't know that. Because I thought he was trying not to flip the deck, but I suppose it's, yeah, like a draw icon on a Grim Reminder can sometimes not be useful, especially if you're playing towards getting that maximum benefit like Irie was.
So I don't... It's been very edgy so far. I wonder whether they're both just sort of trying to purge each other's Infernuses and are not doing a very great job of it. That could be what it comes down to.
I don't know. I don't know if it's so much that. I think Irie is like very much in a commanding position here. You know, has purged a lot of really useful cards from Grinman's deck, whereas Irie has had some good cards purged. At the same time, all 3 Pismires are gone. I didn't even notice that.
All 3 Pismires are gone. The Fandangle is gone. The Mark of Dis is gone. The Vault's Blessing is gone. All of these are pretty important pieces of levers.
We are going to see probably a Wild Bounty on that Dark Fairy to get a couple of Ember there. Which we do. And the Empire Mongrel coming down.
Oh my god. 2 more Infernuses from Quinman.
That is indeed, yeah.
And this is obviously like very in the meta right now. Both of these decks have multiple Infernuses and multiple ways to use Recursion to get them back and play them many times.
Exactly, yeah. And I think we're going to see Irie play Logos here, I'd assume. Yeah, got the Sloppy Lab work and the Discombobulator to get you on to check. And probably say archive Bonesaw and discard a Flumph. I'd say the Flumph is probably the least useful. But
yeah, and you have another discard in the archives already, so
yeah. Also, just got a lot of Untamed is already gone. Like when you've got 5 Untamed cards taken out of your deck, you're just gonna be playing less and less good Untamed cards. You'd rather, be setting up for those good Dis turns instead. Gonna see Dis here move a Soul Keeper from the archive, put it on the Snarette, fighting the Emberspine Mongrel.
takes out the Mongrel and the Ludo, I think, here,
Yeah,
if
I
that's
think
how that
and it
works.
goes for the Cornus and Octavia.
But can now fight with the Bonesaw.
Yeah, and just get rid of that. But does leave the Dark Fairy alive.
Yes.
I think
It's also one of those things where knowing the amount of Saurian-based Ember control and sort of capture that's in the deck, you kind of don't want to leave out that Ludo that long.
Mm.
It also stops you, the Ember Spine Mongol stops you reaping.
Exactly, yeah. We can see the Reclaim by Nature just played for the Ember. No, barely any artifacts at all in this matchup, just generally, I think.
No, I don't think so.
In fact, no, I don't think there's a single artifact from
Oh
either
my
side.
god. So
That's
Iredale's going to go to check, and then is going to be made absolutely miserable.
Now, there's an interesting thing here, which is that Quinlan's going to Forge, which does mean that Fandangle isn't going to be giving any benefit. And we do see
Yeah.
the Flump being discarded and the Bonesaw being archived.
So it's purging time.
It is. Do you
And
see the Harvest Time being used here? Is the question.
Trickier this time than last time,
Mm.
because I think you definitely want to be taking them off check here.
Yeah, and it depends. Do you want to go mutants? Because you're going to be pushing your own mutants there, firstly, which is a bit of a risk.
I could see. I mean, you get the benefit of the Ember as well.
We're going to see Double Doom here to return Daughter and discards an Imp Spectre.
I could see you harvest time with those two mutants. You kind of want that Umbra bot with the Discombobulator gone, and you get to Ember yourself.
And here we go. Infernus here. So what we're going to hit first? I think Snoret and Grim Reminder almost certainly going to go.
Yep.
But I think just not that many pips. Not enough pips to knock them off check, but not that many in either discard right now.
We are getting to an interesting point in the Infernus meta game here, where you don't want to be purging too much from your opponent's deck because it can sort of thin it down to very efficient cycling, especially with the logos.
Yeah, exactly, and that's probably why we're seeing the sloppy line work be hit.
That will slow the down. So you want to try and keep a balance between the houses of what you purge. You don't want to purge too much from one house.
And I wonder if maybe we're going to see like a Infernus possibly held by Quinlan. Just
I mean, you might actually, because you're running out of good things.
Yeah, and you don't want to just do it for the sake of it. You'd rather, wait a bit. We do see also there's a capture on that Harvest Time. I didn't quite notice that as well. So
yeah, so it doesn't need to hit pips here, but we'll get the Soul Keeper and the Grim Reminder.
Yeah, so if you did hit mutants though, you would still allow Irie to forge. Is the only thing, but I'm gonna see a Brabble come on down.
Does hold an Infernus and holds the Harvest Time as well.
And we are up to 20 cards purged. And we're gonna see, that Infernus held. We're gonna see Logos, Daughter coming down, getting that draw. Terato, yep. Collecting Inquiry, I imagine. I'm just thinking, I don't know what there is. A Bouncing Death Quark. I don't think it's been purged. No, it hasn't. And we do have a Lethalogica.
So that's going to yield a Bouncing Death Quark.
I think maybe play that Lethalogica first to look for that Bouncing Death Quark, and then
could get the Effervescent Principle as well, which gives you pause for thought.
Yeah, you could.
Nope, that's the. Oh yeah, there is. Damn, looking at the right deck. Plays the Terato.
And yeah, you can get 2 draws, well, potentially 3 draws if you include the Umbrabot's effect due to the Terato at the moment here, with all the mutants on the board. It is worth noting though that it is each mutant. So, for example, the Dark Fairy and the Fandangle will also get that effect from the Terato.
They will.
Easy one to forget. And there we see Lethalogica gets the Bouncing Death Quark. I think we're very happy with that.
I think he will, yeah, because you can take out a couple of the much more threatening creatures and get rid of.
And the Collecting Inquiry, let's see what we've got archived. We see the Reclaimed by Nature and an Infernus. So pretty happy with that. Setting up for a nice disc turn potentially in the future. And we can see draw a second Infernus as well. And there's the Effervescent Principle. Really good to have in your back pocket. Going to be real happy. Another Eclectic Inquiry too.
Ooh, this is the sort of speedy cycling.
Archiving even more. What do we get? Get Mark of Dis and Implosion. This is getting to be very good. And plays the Bouncing Death Quark here. Archives of Cumex. And I'd think maybe hit the Infomorph and the Dark Fairy, I think would be my thought here, and then leave it there. I don't really see the point of getting the 2 Infernuses, just destroying them for the sake of it.
Especially you want to keep them on the board, really.
Exactly. Yeah, you don't want to make it easy to bring them
Yeah.
back or draw them around. So I think we'll see
Lost in the Woods is purged, so that's not happening.
we'll see the bouncing death clock stop there.
And Irie Daily, a key down, but on 11 Ember here, so looking pretty good.
Pretty good, yeah. But Quinman on two keys though.
Yeah, Savage Clash in hand.
Mm-hmm.
We've got some way to go yet, but I think you're feeling good if you're Irie Daily here.
So you can stop the Forge here if you're Quinlan by playing that Saurian turn with the CSI, which is difficult for Irie Daily to deal with. Would we need to have to kill that Brabble to get his Ember back? Most likely.
Yeah, and I think I've got to assume that's what we're going to see here.
I would think
Although
so. Yeah.
that does leave that Logos board alive for another turn, another 2 draws with Serato.
It does, yeah.
And what's interesting about the big archive here with the Eclectic Inquiry is it keeps stuff away from the Infernuses for a while.
It does indeed, yeah, very true.
Down to a discard of a draw of 3 and a draw of 5 and discard 3.
Now, I think you might see Untamed and see the Savage Clash here. It does mean you lose that Terato, which you're not going to be thrilled about.
I think you hit it for sure. You get rid of the Thero. Although the Brabble is a problem.
No, you don't get rid of the Thero. That's the problem. Because the Thero is their biggest creature.
Sorry. They are going to go Dis instead.
So dominate a bauble.
Brutal mark of display happening.
Yeah. So I think, what house do you put them into here though?
Saurians.
Yeah. So what? So mark the Saurian, then implosion it rather.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what we are seeing.
Discards purges the Harvest Time with the Inspector. Implosion.
Yeah, we are going to see the second mark of Dis used. My question was going to be, do you hold the second mark of Dis or use it? I think it is right to use it here.
No, he only played one.
No, he only played one? Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's just the log, the way it expresses it.
Yeah.
Remember, one of them was purged very early on.
Ah, that's what I'm thinking of. Right, okay.
And there goes the City State and the Double Doom.
Yeah, very happy to see those go.
Just competing here to take all of the good cards.
Yeah, we're now up to 23 cards purged.
It's just the current meta that we exist in. This is what Max Mutation has become. That competitive decks pretty much look like this. These are the houses that you'd probably pick as well. Maybe throw some shadows in. Infernus everywhere.
No, I think Infernus. I don't object to Infernus as much as the card itself and the effect itself. What I object to is how common it is. I think it should have been an uncommon, and I think they should have moved it from common to uncommon between Worlds Collide and Mass Mutation.
You just get so many games like this, which is it's a very interesting game to watch. In that it's about playing around the Infernuses, about trying to keep stuff out of your discard pile, picking the right targets, and there's a lot of skill and knowledge involved in that. But boy, do I find it miserable to play.
We are going to see Saurian Pit. Do we see the Faust here will stop Irie Daily from forging once again, and we do see that come down. Unless, though, you could... No, there's nothing big enough to fight the Octavia in to kill it either. No, so I was just questioning whether you'd let him forge for...
Unfortunately, can't. I think you would have preferred to, because you've got to assume that Faust dies now.
Well, I think this is when we're going to see that Savage Clash coming on down. Will mean we lose some from the Brabble, but worth it.
Lose 3, get 2 back. Not reduce the key cost to a normal amount again.
I think, do we see the Reclaim by Nature played on that Dominator Bauble just to get a draw icon?
Yeah, probably. You haven't been able to get that big a board going at any point to the point where you would use a Dominator Bauble a lot.
I would agree. Okay.
Irie Daly's gonna take a thought.
It's gonna go for the Untamed in the end. I've got to think the Savage Clash coming out. Yeah, here we are. So loses 3, but it's still on 9, so can't be too mad about that. We see a Flumph, a Xenos Blood Shadow, an Ember Spine Mongrel, and are we going to see that Reclaimed by Nature or no? Do we have anything to Resurgence as well is the question.
Yeah, you're going to get back to Terato and Infernus.
Probably, yeah. I would agree with that.
Yeah, it's going to be brutal.
Discard the Reclaimed by Nature, yeah, just clear values. I suppose, yeah, knowing you're probably taking a Dis turn next, you'd be pretty comfortable keeping that around, and probably going to see the Resurgence here. Mm.
They are
Also,
presumably
playing that
having.
Resurgence keeps that Infernus away from discard in case
It
Quinlan's got their own Infernus.
absolutely does. Yep. Whether they go for the Serato is potentially questionable. I think they definitely get the Infernus back.
Mm. Just
And they
Infernus
just take
leaves
the
the
Infernus.
you
Yeah.
throw it away, and yeah, there we go.
Presumably had a look at the draw pile.
Yeah,
Knew that they.
and then we see the Reclaim by Nature purging the Dominator Bauble. And that's the turn. Not great turn from Quinlan though. Just a bit of a fallow turn, trying to build up for future ones. Do you see the Harvest Time there? Potential for a really big hit from that next turn, but I've got to think we're going to see a Keyforge version from Irie, but I think we might see Dis here.
Yeah.
Although maybe just go Untamed, get on that key. But
yeah, just you don't want to reap 3 times because it'll give them 3 probably.
Oh yeah, I didn't notice.
So unless you can find out a good.
Both places having Emberspine Mongrel, that's true.
Yeah.
But you could fight the Flumph into the Octavia for sure. Use the Xenos Blood Shadow to kill their Emberspine Mongrel. It wouldn't get you on check though, is the thing.
It wouldn't, no. You kind of want to hold your answers when they have more than 1 Ember. I will, by the way, declare fallow our word of the day because I do quite like that.
That's good. Thanks, man. Yeah, I think also Infernus, you'd be able to hit both of their Infernuses and their Reclaim by Nature and their Faust. Is more what I'm thinking.
You would, yeah.
We're not going to see Untamed though. I think we're definitely going to see the Flumph attack the Cornerson.
Yeah, and you can use the Xenos Blood Shadow to take out the Emberspine Mongrel.
You can, yeah, and you're also going to see probably Emberspine Mongrel get a couple of extra power, which really limits Quinlan's ability to reap too. And with most of the Ember Pips having been taken out of this game by various Infernuses here too, it's going to become harder and harder to win without being able to reap. And you see, yep, as predicted, the Xenos is going to take out that. And yeah, the Flumph going to put a bit of power onto Emberspine Mongrel. I think Irie Daly getting to a really commanding position here.
Yeah, it's starting to look like he's going to be able to close this out. And I think it was the big Logos turn that did it, because they were able to cycle through a lot of their very heavily purged deck very quickly.
Yep.
And also then build up a big archive with the Eclectic Inquiries. So they could just take 2 very sizable turns there to generate a colossal amount of Ember and to deal with a lot of things that Quinlan has put down.
Yep, and the purge count is now at 24. So a third of the cards in the game have been purged.
12 apiece, which is interesting. Both purged 12 cards out of the deck. I think Quinlan at one point did 2 of his own.
Indeed. And we have seen the Harvest Time too, adding to that.
Yep. And an Inspector.
Yeah. Prof, indeed.
We are almost 30 minutes, just over 30 minutes actually into the game.
Yeah, I think
we are likely to see our time limit.
Yeah, I think likely to see this here. Definitely some. I don't know, seeing Saurian. I'm surprised by that. I would have thought this would be a really good time to use that Infernus, because you've got Irie Daly actually with some cards in his discard that have Ember Pips on them.
Yeah, maybe misses the reshuffle there. Could have purged another Mark of Dis.
Yeah.
An Eclectic Inquiry.
And especially, I suppose you're gonna have some stuff. You're gonna have that Reclaim by Nature and that Tribute, but got to think that Irie is gonna be gunning for those with Infernuses of his own any minute. I mean, I suppose the question here is, you can play a Dis turn, build up the board a bit more, or you can just gonna go for the throat with a Logos, get some Ember, do some reaping. He is gonna go for this Dis turn though. Gotta think purging 2 of those Infernuses.
Yeah, presumably wants to get that done whilst the discard's still there as well.
Yeah. It goes for Reclaim by Nature and the Dark Fairy, but I think the second one will definitely hit those 2 Infernuses. Just to be safe. Maybe a Faust and Infernus, I'm not sure. Faust could also be quite problematic in this matchup. And we do see, the Infernus and the Faust.
Just taking apart Quinlan's deck.
Yeah, we'd see now this very big board is forming here, and that's a nice hand of Logos too. You can just kind of, if Quinlan did anything too explosive, have that ability just going to run through that. But nothing in the discard for Quinlan's Infernus to hit here either.
And not many pips left in his own either.
No, and that's why I think that's the problem with Quinlan wait until this turn, is that if he wants to play that Infernus now, he has to play it and discard his and purge his own discard. We're not going to be thrilled about doing. He does play the Scylla. And I imagine he can play the Theros Centurion too. And then move the Ember that a Theros Centurion captures upon play onto probably, say, the Toad. Would be a good one to put that on.
Although the thing is, it can't reap.
Oh, because of the Emberspine Mongrel, of course. Yeah.
We'll see if they spot that. Hopefully they will.
I suppose maybe kill the Emberspine with... Killing the Emberspine with the Charybdis first, maybe. You know, sucks because you don't have to trade it, but it's the only way you're really going to be able to do anything at this point. So, Quinman giving some thought here. And Funkstein Furnace, so maybe not planning on reaping them. I suppose so if you're playing the Thero and you're capturing one anyway, fights the Flumph. And I think this is looking dire for Quinman here. I don't really see how he stops this now after Irie. I would think either goes Dis and reaps a bunch, or goes Logos and just plays a load of cards down.
I think you try and reap out and then implosion the Thero.
Yeah, or maybe implosion the Scylla first. Stop all your things dying.
What's the other one?
No, the Scylla's the reap one. Charybdis is the fight one.
And that is Charybdis that we see on the board.
Yeah, no, it's because you killed the Scylla.
Yeah, sorry.
The toad, the small toad killed the mighty Scylla in a great battle.
Yeah, it was definitely the toad that did it, not the toad being sacrificed in some sort of giant explosion.
Yeah, some kind of like Dis ritual. I think this might be game. Oh no, we'll see the Infernus probably come down. There's definitely some Ember Pimps knocking around.
I don't know. There's only one in each discard pile, I think.
Is there?
And so that's the GG. Can't stop.
Oh yeah, that is. Yeah. There we are.
And Irie Daly wins today's Infernus contest. With 16 cards purged in Quinman's deck to 12 cards purged in their own.
A total of 28, nearly a full deck of Keyforge has been purged this game.
5 Infernuses, a Harvest Time, two Harvest Times, an Imp Spectre.
And yeah, we will see. Well, once we get the results of the rest of the games, we'll see whether Lickall can come back from this loss, or whether we'll see the Hamburg Atlanteans storming to another victory and go into the final.
We haven't recorded this yet, but you can go and check out their videos to find out where that happens.
Indeed. Well, I've been David Baron von Fabulous Lark.
And I've been Callum of the Good Dr. Young.
We've been Screech Commentaries. Thank you very much for listening.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.